Hey guys, I am Ibigandscary and bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay, this time featuring in our top right hand side wArSF. Our purple Terran and his opponent in the bottom right hand side from Team Dairy is going to be Todes. Our red Zerg. Both players are in Masters League, I believe. I don't really know about Wars, but I do know that he is a practice partner for Todes, and it wouldn't make much sense for Todes to pick a practice partner that is not as good at the game as him. So I'm assuming he's in Masters League. And it's a pretty safe assumption because this is game 2, and we saw that Wars is actually really good at this game. And that's basically it. I do not like Red City, which is the map that we're on right now. I vetoed it. Primarily for Protoss because of this right here. If you're on the bottom side, either bottom right or bottom left, then your opponent's on the top or side, either top left, top right, they can force field this off with just 2 force fields and hold it pretty much indefinitely. And then you have to go all the way down, take out the rocks, and then all the way around, and it's incredibly obnoxious. So basically it makes it so that you can hold your natural just like you can hold your main with 1 extra force field, or if you're feeling frisky you can throw down a pylon right here and block it off with just a single force field. So it's terrible. It's terrible for Zerg, which is what I play, and you rely so much on those surrounds, and you have to plan your surrounds incredibly far ahead. Even chokes like this make it so that your surround has to come all the way up, take out the rocks, and then come all the way down, or even worse, come all the way down into the middle field and come around, and then you open up the possibility of just getting crushed by a counterattack, and it's not worth it. So I switched over to the other maps that are a little bit more balanced, and that's what you run into whenever you have these really large maps like Red City. They're absolutely enormous, and you have to do something with all that open space. And the good way to do it is by chopping it up, making it so that there are many pockets where the aggression can actually take place. But I think he might have overdone it on this one. I do not like it. I do not like it. I do not. We have a hatchery going up on the low ground, spawning pool up on the high ground. Gas follows soon after. CC first coming out from Wars. Still no gas. Oh, they're grabbing the gas right now. Good for him. Gas timing is pretty much right on top of the barracks. It'll finish shortly before. Could be a Reaper opening, might be a factory opening. What with the command center first, it's very, very hard to tell because it kind of messes with all the timings that I have in my head. But you know what? It's cool because we're going to find out in like 20, 30 seconds. And wow, Todes knows too. He's popping up here with the drone. Red City's one of those places that have 4 different spawning locations, so it looks like he spent the Overlord to the bottom left, drone to the top right, and he got lucky, which is pretty cool. And also cues Wars in on the fact that this was the second scouting option for Todes. So if he had seen the Overlord, or if the Overlord had popped in and then popped up on the high ground, I expect we might see that Marine to come up here and pop up on the high ground just to see if there is an Overlord hanging out there, because that's totally where you send your first Overlord if you scouted on the left side of the top left side of the map. Have we had any scouting at all come out from it's just now coming out from Wars, and he is going off to the top left hand side, which is fine. I mean, in all reality, it's not like he's look at that, his Marine is poking up there on the high ground. I love that. I absolutely love that. He's just looking around, seeing if there is indeed an Overlord up there. It's so cool whenever you guesstimate that this is going to happen and then it actually happens. I love that. It tickles me. So the barracks is repositioning, throwing down a reactor on the just the left side of the factory. It's probably going to be used by that factory. We're probably going to be seeing either Hellions or Widow Mines, obviously, and those are the only 2 things that come out because of a reactor. However, figure this. The Hellions are awesome because this map is absolutely huge. You have these really narrow chokes where they can kind of kite away from those Zerglings and then eventually make their way down to the open ground and actually deal with the Zerglings there. Widow Mines are awesome because the Widow Mines can actually be positioned in these narrow chokes, and the Zerglings just kind of get funneled into the meat grinder. So they're both very, very powerful. With the 3rd CC also being thrown down, I can totally see him building one or the other. Hellions to gain map control to make it so that his CC is actually safe, and Widow Mines so that he can kind of play defensively and actually secure that 3rd CC. But we do see Hellions on the production tab. I was just waiting for him to actually choose one or the other, because it really is 6 in one hand, half dozen to the other, totally dependent on the playstyle. Double eBay tells me that this is probably going to be mech, with that tech lab also being thrown down. Probably going to be starting on STEM immediately. We have the wall off being completed just a little bit late for me. in my opinion. Usually we see Zergling, maybe Roach aggression starting up at the 6-minute mark, but here we are, have the 7-minute mark, and the bunker is just now being saturated with a single Marine. We do have the Hellions coming out on the field, though, so that would tell him if he was going to be dealing with some form of aggression. However, everything's just a little bit late right now. It's fortunate for him that Todes is not going to be aggressive. Oh my goodness, we have 5 drones being pushed down to the 3rd, and it looks like every single one is going to get roasted. Oh, Todes was trying to build a spine crawler there. It looks like another one is going to get roasted up, and the other 2 are surviving by forming into the spine crawler. Holy crap, that's another huge wave of drones. One Hellion goes down, but the other ones are going to be going to town. Good splitting there from Todes, keeping the majority of them alive. 2 more get cleaned up, but with 3 queens in the area, it looks like these Hellions are going to be taken care of, but not before taking out another 3. Holy man, that's absolutely ridiculous. War scoring a major win on that harvester count, only 4 or 5 harvesters behind, but his 3rd hasn't even been taken yet. He's got that 3rd orbital command. He might be thinking about, oh, that's neat. He might be thinking about securing it now that he's done that economic flow, but no, I think it's more reasonable for him to sit back and relax on his natural right now, get up the infrastructure necessary to build up a large ground army, also get that +1/+1. Stem almost done, probably going to be starting up on combat shields in just a couple of seconds. We have another run by from those Hellions. This one not nearly as successful as the first, but still very devastating. 18 workers killed total, another 7 for the cost of a handful of Hellions. That is absolutely brutal. Even with the completion of that single spine crawler, I guess he canceled the other spine crawler. Still just not enough to deal with these Hellions. This is brutal. Absolutely brutal. Looks like the queens are going to town on the creep spread, though. That is super important. We also don't see any Zerglings being produced, even though we have the metabolic boost on the way. Those Zerglings, 6 Zerglings now, will really help out against those Hellions, but we can see that wArS is transitioning away from the Hellions, content with how much damage he's actually done. I believe he's suspecting a counter push, basically. And yeah, he switched over to those Widow Mines. Widow Mines are going to be absolutely fantastic. Like I said, they have those chokes, and they have the high ground. They've got everything you could possibly imagine to make it so that those Widow Mines are going to be very, very effective. 3rd has been scouted by Todes. He knows that the time bomb is ticking. Oh wow, look at that. The second I go down here to check out the lair, there goes the scan, and wArS is now aware that we have 11 Mutalisks on the production tab. 1-1 also being researched from these double evo chambers, and the lair is also up. So wow, with one scan he sees all the tech from Todes. He even saw the moving spawning pool, I think. It depends on where the scan was positioning, but Baneling Nest also. So it looks like that very traditional, very powerful, very mobile Mutalisk Ling composition. 8 Mutalisks were on the production tab just a second ago. Here they are, and it looks like they're going to be sweeping up. This 3rd is the most exposed out of all the bases just because it has this massive kind of empty space behind it. And yeah, that is exactly where those Mutalisks are headed. Got to be mindful of the fact that that scan scouted the Spire. And these Marines now have stem, and they also have +1/+1. Another missile turret going down. It looks like those Mutalisks are being rebuffed at every turn. Found the sweet spot, but just as those missile turrets are finishing, this would have been a great place if those missile turrets hadn't been constructed at all, because the double eBay, that is a really high-priced target, even though it's not immediately what you think of with Mutalisk Harass. If you can take out that 2-2, which is on the way, you can really set back your Terran infantry and make it so that it's much, much more difficult for wArS to actually push out. As things are now, he's got 1-1, he's got Stim, he's got Medivacs, he's got an intimidating force, and these Marines, even especially when accompanied with these Widow Mines, are not going to have an issue with pushing on to creep, actually dealing some damage. Remember, the Baneling Nest is done. There are a handful of Zerglings, as I span to see an entire legion of Zerglings. A lot of Zerglings on the field, but no Banelings at all, and that's going to make dealing with these Marines just that much harder. But with the creep there, I don't foresee too much of an issue from Todes. He is going to be pushing in now that every single one of his creep tumors are dead, but the Widow Mines have burrowed down, and oh wow, really nice moves there from wArS. For some reason, he could manage to slip away from that huge wave of Zerglings, and it looks like it's going to be up to the Mutalisks to actually clean this up. And man, they've taken some massive hits from all those Widow Mines, really just big hits. 11 Mutalisks, just down to 4. We have 7 more on the production tab. Another wave of Zerglings readying themselves, but there's going to be another wave of Widow Mine explosions, and it looks like the timer is just now running out. Oh man, Well, the Zerglings just barely managing to pick off those Widow Mines as they become ready to fire. You can tell because of the light that distinguishes itself after they explode, but then it reignites once they're ready to actually fire. So it was really tight there. Todes getting really lucky, managing to clean them up. The 11 Mulists now pushing in is going to just taking care of these Marines as they trickle in one at a time, but now no longer being accompanied by those Widow Mines. These Mutalisks with their +1, not going to have a problem cleaning them up, but sustaining some substantial losses because now the 2-2 is also done. Just showing you how powerful those Widow Mines and Marines can actually be once they're pushing out. Marauders being added into the mix, which is weird because we don't see any Roaches. We don't see anything that those Marauders are going to be very effective against except for the buildings. But hey, if you got the Tech Lab, why not make Marauders? I understand. He's got one single Tech Lab on one single barracks, which means that, you know, he could be producing Marines out of it, but he could also make some of those really robust Marauders. And those Marauders are going to be doing a good number against those Baneling hits, too, because they just simply don't melt away like the Marines do. You can see a lot of Banelings are being morphed up on the low ground. Here comes the counter push from, oh my goodness, so many of those Banelings pushing in. Once the creep has run out, it looks like wArS is going to stand and fight. Some good splits there, making it so his Marauders are the ones absorbing the majority of the fire, but the Mutalisks remain, and they're capable of actually cleaning this up. wArS is just barely holding his own in this fight. Todes just wants to keep the aggression off of him just for a handful of seconds, but man, with the beautiful positioning of those Widow Mines, he's just scoring massive hit after massive hit, and there's not much that these Mutalisks can do. Got to be careful not to fly over these Widow Mines as their timer reignites their ability to fire. 2 more gas being thrown down. Greater Spire also. We have the 3-3 underway for Todes, with his adrenal glands making his Zerglings even more powerful than they are. But 3-3 is also more than halfway done for wArS, and he's securing his 4th with a Planetary Fortress, which is really going to be a tough nut to crack. However, the Zerglings with their metabolic boost now, even off of creeps, sweeping in there, getting up almost a full surround, and wArS electing to pull his SCVs rather than repair it, which means that CC goes down before it could be a planetary. A massive win for Todes, making it so he can keep his enemy on 4 bases just for the time being. The Zerglings are going to clean up every single one of those SCVs, which really equalizes the workers kill tab. Really a nice win for Todes, making it so that the 4th goes down. The natural and the main are pretty. They're still mineable, but they're currently no longer saturated, I guess, because of the massive SCV swap over to that 4th. These Mutalisks have to be very careful, even with the handful of Marines in that area. The Zerglings, though, really just throwing caution to the wind, sweeping in, forcing the stutter step away from the minefield, and the Mutalisks sweeping in, trying to clean up the straggling Marines. Oh man, another massive hit on those Mutalisks, and they're retreating over the other Widow Mines, but it looks like they've been discharged, again with no light on them. Oh man, that is brutal. What are you doing, wArS? He's expanding down towards the Zerg expansion. I guess it was because he also took his 4th there. Maybe he just queued that up, expecting his ground force to have secured this area. But it looks like the Zerglings are once again sweeping in. The creep has been taken care of in this area, but it's still hanging around. Another massive hit from those Widow Mines. This is just absolutely wrecking havoc on these Zerglings. But this is just Todes having that holding pattern. He's gotten his Hive up. He's gotten his Greater Spire up. He's got Broodlords on the way. He just needs to get up that critical number. He needs to get up about, I don't know, 7, 8 of them. Because remember, this is, once you get those Broodlords up, the terrain of this map, which is currently working heavily in the favor of wArS, will start to work in the favor of Todes. Once he gets those Broodlords up, he'll be able to shell down those Broodlings, and those Broodlings will basically be miniature force fields. Oh my goodness, 2, 3 Widow Mines discharging on top of those Corruptors absolutely melts them away. Those Marauders doing a massive amount of damage to the factory. And it looks like the Broodlords have succeeded in coming out of the cocoon, but I don't know where they were. I saw 2 of them right here. Oh, here they are, just to the north. Excellent. I saw 2 cocoons right here, and I know that they weren't there anymore. I was worried that all of them had been cleaned up. It looks like another drop going down here. The Mutalisks swinging in, trying to clean up those Marauders, but those Marauders are so very resilient. Once again, crushing down the worker kill tab. 28 workers killed, and another drop into the bottom left-hand side. This 5th is probably going to be taking a lot of damage, but oh man, all these widow mines right here are, they've still got a little bit of time left. And there's an overseer right here. Does he not see it? He doesn't see it. It's just barely outside of the range, the vision range of that. That 5th base did go down, but there was no attempt to defend it from Todes. And it looks like these widow mines are, yeah, they're going to discharge down on top of those drones. That is just absolutely a shame, taking so much damage from those dastardly widow mines. That is just absolutely brutal. Here comes the overseer. Now he's adjusting. Now he can totally see them, and it looks like the broodlords are going to have no problem at all cleaning that up. Another drop going down here. No queen to defend these drones, but it looks like a buttload of zerglings is definitely going to be doing a number on them, and with no reignite, it looks like that medevac is going to go down. But we see another strike force from wArS moving down to the bottom right-hand side. wArS is still basically on 3 bases. It looks like he's secured his 4th, actually. That's still not a planetary just yet. So economically speaking, I feel like they're on pretty much equal footing. Yeah, Todes has a lot of bases, but he can't keep those bases alive. He's basically still on the 4-base economy, but his main is completely mined out. It looks like he's repositioning those drones just now. wArS is still totally in this. He's suffered a lot of losses in the form of his 4th base, but he's done a lot of damage himself. Even though Todes is up on tier 3 units right now, he's still kind of exposed in the air. He's only got 3 corruptors, and this is a lot of Marines and some Vikings thrown into the mix. So that's a lot of anti-air. One good engagement could definitely swing this heavily in the favor of wArS, because that's a lot of money that's invested in the form of those tier 3 units. Remember, these are fully upgraded zerglings. They've got the adrenal glands, and so wArS does not want to do a direct engagement on creep with basically anything that Todes has, but he can't just rely on drops anymore. Because with the corruptor count beginning to rise, we can see even more of them are being added into the mix. The anti-air is just going to be very, very powerful. I like the addition of several more overseers into the zergling composition. I suspect that those will actually start following around the broodlords more than anything else, just because those zerglings can really outpace their speed. +2 carapace, but does that mean we're on 3 for flyers yet? No, we're still just on +1 for flyers. I wonder, I guess that's just to protect the broodlords from the marine fire, just because those marine broodlords are really going to benefit from that, making it so that the marine's not doing nearly enough damage. But with those mulisks getting picked off, I think Todes knows where this main force from wArS is, and it looks like he's positioning his broodlords to cut off their retreat, and then his zerglings are getting ready to run in and actually raffle stomp wArS as he pushes into this cove, takes care of that hatchery. Oh my goodness, but he's kind of cornered. I think he's found the single way out, which is just to the north. The broodlords coming in, shelling down some damage. There goes the stem. wArS realizing that he cannot win this engagement if he is forced into it right now, and he is going to be retreating. Really got to be careful here. Todes does not want to overextend, does not want to expose his broodlords to the concentrated fire from all these marines without his zerglings there. All the zerglings swinging up into a very narrow choke, engaging those marines without the broodlord support. Todes cannot engage with just half of his army. He needs the entire army, and just with that, it looks like he lost a massive number of his zerglings. Nothing that he can't replace pretty much immediately, and he is pretty much supply backed. But he's also mineral starved and gas starved. He's doing a good job keeping his economy down, spending some money on those mulisks. Maybe that's going to be another opportunity for harassment. Maybe up on that 4th base, just a single missile turret there. Oh man, those broodlords pushing in. There goes the scan. Those marines are aware of it. They are going to be swinging down into those broodlords. Oh, the infestors. Where's the fungal growth? Oh, fungal growth. Holy crap. So much green. The fungal growths were absolutely clutch, keeping those marines, making it so that they could not run and stem underneath it. Now that the fungal growths have expired, they are pushing forward. More than a handful of the broodlords remain, though, and can clean up pretty much anything anti-air compatible from wArS, and Todes still has a large number of corruptors. Yeah, wArS has to GG out. It looks like at the same time there was a counter-aggression from those zerglings up on the 4th base. It was against a planetary fortress. I can imagine that a lot of destruction took place there, because this is not nearly the number of zerglings. If you missed it, I apologize. This was so much cooler to watch. Holy crap. So many broodlords sweeping in there. The infestors arrived at the perfect amount of time. And because really what you need to do if you were wArS is stem your marines and then sprint past the broodlings that were being thrown down, get underneath the broodlords, and then target them down one at a time. And in order to do that, you have to be able to move. And the infestors throwing down their fungal growths on top of those marines, absolutely a clutch play. I didn't see it coming at all. I didn't even notice the infestor pit was on the production tab. But, I mean, obviously had it because he's got Hive. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. That's game 2 of the practice match. This is a practice. They're just practicing. They're having a good time. I'm having a great time. Thank you for watching this replay. If you have a game you want me to cast, you could PM me here or on Reddit. One way or another, I will see you guys later. I am Big and Scary. Bye.